We are talking outdoor track and field, preparing for the final meet of the collegiate season with assistant coach Taryn Sheehan. I'm Sean Moth. Great to see you again, as always. Taryn, congratulations. You guys really had an outstanding meet, especially on the ladies' side. You have 6 athletes heading to the NCAAs June 6th through the 9th at the famed Drake Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. I know you guys must be pleased.
We are very pleased. The women definitely showed up ready to compete and went above and beyond and did what they needed to do to get to championship rounds. So that was very good.
Let's talk about the first 2 that got in, and that's in the shot put. You had 1-2 finish right there. That's got to be a nice feather in the cap.
Oh, it was a great way to start off that regional meet down there in Jacksonville. They definitely went out there and scored and threw their personal best for the seasons. It was outstanding to see them just kick it off, and I think that really pushed momentum for the rest of the women throughout the weekend.
Sure. We jump into your discipline, which is distance, and Holly Knight. It's kind of unique to bring in an athlete that's that seasoned, but in the same light, it's still the same pressure that everybody feels. And we were talking off camera that the preliminary rounds can maybe be a little more nerve-wracking than the actual championships, and she came through with flying colors.
Absolutely. You always want to know that you can make it to the next round, but you never know what's going to happen, and that's the excitement of competition, is going out there and competing, and she did that with poise and composure as the 5th-year senior that she is.
Now we go on to the jumpers, and there were actually 3 jumpers that advanced, and maybe we should have led off, I should say, with Keisha Lockhart. She had an outstanding meet. She qualified in 2 different events, as she will compete in the long and the triple jump, and that was really impressive, her performance down the stretch.
Keisha had a huge weekend, and she should really take a lot of confidence in her ability to jump far, but the ability to compete down to the wire in the finals at the end when it's you going head-to-head with other athletes. And she did that very, very well. We were very proud to see her just, do what she needed to do to move on to the finals.
We look at the high jump, too. Maggie Gilbertson and Michelle Theophile both advance to the NCAA Championships, and it's fun to take 3 different disciplines. I know Coach Winston probably would have loved to have snuck a sprinter in there, and you would have liked to spread them across the board, but even so, it's not like we're absolutely heavy on one discipline. We're taking 3 different ones, and it's a nice balanced group to head to the NCAAs.
Absolutely, and I think that's something that starts from the top on down. Ron's been very, very adamant of having a full track and field team here at Louisville, and I think our representation at the national stage shows that.
So how do things differ now? Because preparing for Big East and preparing for the NCAA preliminary rounds, the time frame's a little different. It seems like the turnaround here is a little tighter, and I would imagine that fatigue has to be some sort of factor. I know that these are well-trained athletes, and they're going to continue to compete, some even in London, as the summer progresses, but it seems like this is a pretty quick turnaround, and in the same light, this is the biggest stage they will perform on. What's preparation like?
I think it's more sometimes just the mental part. Just the team's dwindled a little bit. You don't have that huge group that you have at the beginning of the season, and I think that's where maturity comes into play, and it's good that we've got a wide spread of athletes that some have been there to the national stage, and then you've got some that haven't. So it's really good that they can lean on each other and use each other's experience to keep that momentum going and that positivity rolling through. And I think the performances we had at Jacksonville will help that.
And I think it helps, too, that enough of these student athletes have been at Drake Stadium, which is one of the premier venues for track and field, obviously, as they're hosting the NCAA championships there. But not just having been in the NCAAs, but been in that venue kind of gets you in a little more of a comfort zone, too, I would imagine.
University of Drake puts on a great performance, whether it's the Drake Relays or hosting the national championships. It's a wonderful venue for track and field, and we've definitely made sure that our athletes have had the opportunity. We took a number of athletes out to Drake earlier this season to see the venue, to jump, to get comfortable with the facilities. And some of the athletes have competed in the national meet there in the past, so it'll be a really good experience for all.
And obviously the nature of this sport, much like Arthur Albiero and the swimmers, as we're talking about tenths and 1/100ths of a second or even centimeters. And I did want to point out one other performance, because it's an individual that dropped almost half a second off of his time in his first year of competition. That's Calvin Arsenault, what he did in the hurdles, a PR in the NCAA regionals. Really, you can't, that's school record, in fact. You can't really ask much more than that from an athlete. And I know as just a freshman, it would have been great to get him to Drake, but even without that, his future is very bright at U of L.
Calvin, there's nothing that you can't say about that kid that's not positive. He's an exceptional student athlete here at Louisville. Just a pleasure to be around, whether it's as a fellow peer or as his coach. He has just done everything we've asked for, and the future's looking really bright. I definitely think he's looking forward to the summer as well. There's a good possibility he could represent Canada over in Spain in the World Junior Championships. So we definitely look forward to what he's got to come ahead.
Just because the season is capped collegiately on the 9th, it doesn't mean these kids are done. And of course, Ron Mann will be by after the NCAAs to not only put a bow on the collegiate season, but in the same light to look ahead to bigger and sometimes better things for some of these athletes as they jump to the world stage. In the meantime, Taryn, thank you so much for your time. Good luck at the championships.
Thanks, Sean. Always great to be here.
For Taryn Sheehan, I'm Sean Moth. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk next time right here on Cards TV.